Welcome to my Tech Spotlight series dedicated to poor people who can't afford expensive staples. Here I showcase cheap tech cards that can be easily obtained even as a new player. Summon Over is an N rarity field spell from the Warriors Unite box. It adds a counter on itself every time a monster is special summoned, and when it has 6 counters it cannot be destroyed by card effects. At the start of either player's main phase, if this card has 6 counters, the turn player can send this card to the graveyard to send all special summoned monsters of their opponent to the graveyard. This is a complicated gimmick, but can be an extremely powerful board wipe tool if you plan your moves well. Summon Over is designed to counter decks that special summon a whole bunch of monsters in one turn, like Resonators and Thunder Dragons, and punishes them heavily by allowing you to send their whole board to the graveyard in your next turn. The interesting part about this card is that both players can add counters on it, and both players can use its board wipe effect. That's why the ideal way to use Summon Over is to put 5 counters on it during your turn, so when your opponent special summons once, the 6th counter gets added and you can board wipe next turn. Basically once you get 5 counters on it, you are preventing you and your opponent from special summoning, because whoever special summons next gets their board wiped. This also makes Summon Over a powerful card against players who don't read. The weaknesses of this card should be very obvious. Summon Over affects both players and influences how the entire game is played, hindering both you and your opponent's actions. That being said, if you play it smart, you can play around its effects easily and have the high ground. Summon Over is also a slow attack card, its board wipe needs to wait a turn to activate, so you'll need to protect yourself before then. Even though Summon Over is a card that punishes special summoning, this card is best used in decks that love to spam special summons, so they can put 5 counters on it as soon as possible. Synchro spamming decks like Resonators, Tech Genius, Shooting Star Synchrons, Blackwings and Cristrons are good options to use Summon Over with. Overall, Summon Over is an excellent counter to any deck that special summons and gives you an entire board wipe, but if your opponent doesn't special summon, it will hinder your own plays. Not many decks don't special summon though, so this isn't too big of an issue. Thanks for watching, goodbye.